Chapter 1B, Calculating Wages. Wages is usually calculated using an hourly rate. You may have sometimes heard it called an ordinary rate. So we calculate the wage by multiplying the number of hours by the ordinary rate. Once again, when we're looking at this question, it's important to get the important information. So it's $19.85 per hour, and it says calculate Alice's wage in a week in which she works a 40-hour week. Again, this is a fairly simple question, and all it's asking you to do is to multiply the hourly rate by the number of hours worked. So the hourly rate, or the ordinary rate, is $19.85 multiplied by 40, which is equal to 19.85 times 40 equals 794. Therefore, Alice earns $794 for a 40-hour week. Very simple, very straightforward. Just remember that it's really important when you're comparing people's wage. You need to compare the hourly rate rather than the weekly wage. If you have a look at this question, it says James works as a mechanic and earned $582.90 for a 38-hour working week. Michael earned $907.45 for a 60-hour working week. Now, Michael earned more than James, however, he also worked longer hours as well. So the question's asking us who earns the highest wage. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to compare both wages. So let's have a look. It says divide James's weekly wage by the number of hours worked. So James earned $582.90 and he worked 38 hours. So per hour, James would have earned 582.90 divided by 38 equals, so he roughly earns about $15.34 per hour. If we have a look at what Michael earned $907.45, but he worked for 60 hours. So 907.45 divided by 60 equals. So in fact, Michael actually earns less than James. Therefore, James is on a higher hourly rate than Michael. Make sure you've got those copied down and then move on to the next example. Employees are sometimes paid an allowance for unfavourable conditions such as heat, rain, living away from home, travelling, etc. Let's have a look at this question. It says Peter works as an environmental officer in northwest New South Wales and is paid $39 per hour for a 38-hour week. During summer months, he receives an additional 50 cents per hour for insect allowance, an additional $4.15 per hour when the temperature is 37 degrees Celsius or above, and an allowance of $2.15 per hour for wet weather. How much does Peter earn in a summer week when it was above 37 degrees Celsius for 23 hours and it rained for 7 hours? Okay, so let's have a look at the information. So his ordinary rate is $39.90. 50 cents per hour for insect, $4.15 when the temperature is above 37 degrees Celsius, $2.15 for wet weather. And what it's asking you here What did Peter earn in a summer week when it was above 37 degrees, above 37 for 23, and rained for 7 hours? Now, the other important information is it's a summer week. So let's have a look. First thing that you will do is you'll calculate Peter's normal wage. So his normal wage is $39.90 multiplied by 38 equals. So Peter's normal wage, 39.90 times 38 equals $1,516.20. Now, the next thing we're going to calculate Peter's fly allowance or his insect allowance. So it says he gets 50 cents per hour for insects. So he gets 0.50 multiplied by 38. So 0.50 times 38 equals, so he gets an extra $19 per week for insects. Now the next one, it says it was above 37 degrees for 23 hours. Calculate Peter's hot weather and evaluate. So he gets $4.15 per hour, $4.15 when it's above 37 degrees. Now it was only above 37 for 23 hours. Gets $95.45 for hot weather allowance. His next one, calculate Peter's wet weather allowance and evaluate. He gets $2.15 per hour for wet weather. So $2.15 multiplied by, now it rained for 7 hours. Equals $15.05. Add all the totals together. So his ordinary rate, which equals, so 1516.2 plus 19 plus 95.45 plus 15.05 equals $1,645.70. Therefore, Peter earned $1,645.70, including his allowances. Please make sure you've got that filled in and try the examples, please. Pause the video now and try these few questions. Follow the examples that you've been given previously. Use these as your anchor chart and a guide to completing all questions that are given both inside and outside of class. Check your answers with the ones that are given. If you have any wrong, please go back and have another look at your working and compare it to the previous examples.